Hey guys, welcome back to Bizzy Girl Era. So this is part 2 of the Q&A. There was just so much good stuff to talk about in the last episode, and I felt like I was going to maybe have to cut some stuff out if I did decide to do one super long episode. This one, we just got super deep. I feel like because I was recording so long and had so much to say and was also extremely tired and also extremely caffeinated, I got really open and vulnerable as the episode goes on, and it's feeling really good. I love that I'm getting more comfortable doing these, and I feel like starting with the Q&A, I don't know, it's giving sleepover vibes. Like, it's making me nervous because you guys are just seeing such a different side to me. If you do follow me on Instagram, TikTok, I'm really just excited to see how my content's going to change also as the community that we build together grows. It's just so exciting. So I'm really excited for it. And if you guys missed the last episode, that's part 1 to the Q&A. You guys had so many good questions. I'm so excited to do more of these and to hear what episodes you guys want to see next. Should we go into guest? Should we... I honestly don't know if I am ready for guests. So I think I do take that back. I think I want to do at least one more solo episode. But if you guys are like, please, we need to see a guest ASAP, let me know who you want to see on. I have some ideas cooking in my noggin, but I also want to hear from you guys so we can build this together. Like, do we have someone wellness on? Do we have a health person, an owner of a business in town, out of town, someone in my family? Like, there really are endless options, and we are building this together, so we can do whatever we want. So let's hop into the episode. Next question is, how did you know a 9-to-5 wasn't for you? What led you here? I feel like when it comes to 9-to-5, a lot of the times people are like, they make you pick a side. Either you like a 9-to-5 or you freaking hate and despise a 9-to-5. I think there is a happy medium. If you like your 9-to-5, you like your 9-to-5. And I think a big part of life is surrounding yourself with good people. So if you're at a 9-to-5 where you are rocking with the people there, you're having a good time, you like what you do and you feel valued, I think that's a huge thing. Feeling valued at your workplace, that's great. How did I know it wasn't for me? I knew it wasn't for me because I constantly had ideas in the back of my head, and I just felt like I had so much more to give. Like how I talked about in the first episode, not putting myself in a box, I felt like that's what a 9-to-5 was kind of trying to do. Remember, I always wanted to learn about the other parts of the other parts of the place I worked at too. In any job I had, I always wanted to know like what the owners were doing, what the founders were doing, what the people in sales were doing, what the people in HR were doing. I wanted to know every aspect of the business, and especially the place that I was working at. I guess that's normal. Like they wouldn't allow me to explore that, and I just hated that I was forced to stay in only one position. That's just not. Maybe it's my ADHD brain. I don't know. I wanted to try so many different things. And I also am not a morning person. I was so late to work every single day. And I ran out of excuses. I was like, it sucks that I have to go into work right now and I can't say I'm just tired, and I'm just a night owl. And sometimes it was really hard because I was trying to do my 9-to-5 job. And then I was also trying to create content after work so I could try to pursue my influencer career. And then on top of that, I'm trying to make time for my boyfriend, my friends, my family. And I was just, what do they say? I was burning the candle at both ends. It was awful. It was so hard. I also didn't like the idea that, this sounds lazy, I know, but just the fact that I had to show up every single day, no matter what was going on in my life. I remember it was really hard too when both my grandparents had gotten sick at the same time and my mom needed help babysitting kids, and there was just so much on my plate, and still work was taking up so much of my time. And I regret that a lot because when you're in it, it's kind of like a toxic relationship. Well, I guess it depends on the place that you're working at. But I feel like sometimes jobs are, a toxic relationship because when you're in it, you don't see this outside world going on around you. Your job can feel like everything sometimes, and that's how it was feeling for me. There was so much important stuff going on in family that I needed to be there for. And that, honestly, both my grandparents, oversharing moment again, when they did pass, that was a big eye-opener for me because there was so much time that I was giving to this job when real life was happening. I get their company's important. I totally get all that. I just felt like I was missing so much life. We're getting TMI again. I have serious. Like, doctors actually don't fully know what I have. They think I have endometriosis, which basically means I have the most painful periods ever. It's awful. And I'll have cramps so bad that sometimes I'll pass out. And it's gotten a little bit better. There's some that are better than others, but growing up, I had terrible cramping and I would pass out constantly. And I hated the fact that I couldn't call out of work due to painful periods. Like, first, that's a whole other tangent. I think menstrual cramps, that needs to be paid time off. That's like a whole other, someone needs to pass some bill on that. Like, that's insane that we as women have to go through that in workplaces. It's freaking insane that we have to go through bleeding. We have to go through bleeding out our bodies and still go to work. Well, these men don't have to. And also, if men had periods, these tampons would be free. And we know that. So, that's my gripe of the day. But yeah, there's too much restriction. I don't know the difference between those words. There's too much of me trying to be in a box when that's not who I am. I feel like I had so much more to offer. It also kind of sucked because like the people on top make the most money. And yeah, I could maybe get promoted, but I could also get fired. And that's really scary to put that in someone else's hands. It just didn't feel right. Like every day I felt so exhausted and tired. My acne was the worst it's ever been. My mental health was the worst it's ever been. I would come home every day and I would be a bitch. I'd be a bitch to my boyfriend. I'd be like mean to my family. It was really hard. Like looking back now, I feel like a totally different person. Like, don't get me wrong, I still got my mood swings, but I just felt like I would come home every day exhausted and just knowing, oh my gosh, it would loom over me. I think this is when I really knew there's no way that everyone feels this way. Especially on Sundays, you're like, oh my gosh, I have work tomorrow. Like, it would be looming over my head the whole entire day. I'd be like, oh my gosh, like that many hours until I have to be at the office again. And it was always like looming over me. And I don't think that's normal. I think if you like your job, then you're not thinking about those things. I mean, maybe some days you are, but yeah. It also just sucked that I had to show up at the office every day and again, maybe this is just a me thing. I just show up and be happy. Like some days you're not in the mood to do that, you know? And especially when I got hired, I remember a few months later, people started getting laid off a lot. And I was like, oh shoot, like, well, I don't think they're going to lay me off if I'm the nicest, happiest person here, which is not a healthy way of doing that, you know? Like if I had to change the person I was to be at a job, and I'm not saying this is how it was, like this part could be like all be in my head, you know, but I told myself that I'm gonna try to be like the nicest, happiest. If I'm having a bad day, I won't tell anyone about it, you know. I won't show that to anyone, because then I'm not going to get laid off, you know. Like I'll be last on their list to get laid off. I don't know. I don't know, I had that mindset, and I'm not saying that's healthy by any means, but you should do that. But that's how life works sometimes, especially in corporate America. Like, you think one of the first people they're going to go after is someone who they've never had an issue with? I don't. So I think it was smart of me. In the end, I obviously still did quit, but yeah, there was also something unsatisfying to me. I'm not saying this is wrong. Like, this makes sense why the people at the top make the most money, but it just was unsatisfying to me that no matter how good I did in my job, I would always get paid a set amount hourly. Again, I get that's how jobs works. Like that's what we sign up for. But that just seemed very unsatisfying to me long term, that no matter what I do, let's say I create a video and that gets so many likes and it makes the product get sold 200 times more than a regular product does. That wouldn't change my income, and that just was unsatisfying for me, you know? I don't know. I didn't like that. I didn't like that part about it. So that's when I knew that 9 to 5 was not for me. What jobs led you to where you are now? I think more than jobs that led me here, it was hobbies that led me here. Like creating those silly YouTube videos when I was a child and different creative outlets like that. I remember even on my flip phone. Yep, flip phone. They had like a stop and play feature on there, and my sister was working on a school project with these like pipe cleaner stick figure people, and I would move them, and I created a little video out of that, and that was so fun. So I think now looking back, I see that that was like low-key a calling because of how passionate and how good I was at it. So the jobs that led me there are definitely like things like that. And then also I was starting my first business when I was 16. A lot of people weren't utilizing social media like I was. And I would come up with new and fun post ideas. I think Canva, I had just realized what it was and was going crazy on Canva. I loved it, still do. And when I was creating stuff on there and posting on my business social media, their local businesses were like, oh my gosh, who runs your social media? Like, you're doing such a good job. And I told them that it was me. And they asked if I would be open to run theirs and if they paid me. So that was like my first job where I got to test out different things to see what people resonated with, what they liked, what they didn't like. And that was really cool. And then when I was in college and during COVID, I got a job as a marketing assistant at CSUB at the SRC, at their, it's a student rec center, so it's like their gym on campus. And I worked there and got to meet some really cool people and friends that I'm still close with today. So that was a really cool experience because I got to work more like collaboratively. So I've just been in a bunch of different fields like that. And even in high school, I had a job like working for a photographer as his like part-time video editor and photo editor and random assistant jobs where I feel like I just learned a whole bunch of random things. And then also got to see what it was like running businesses too, because all these jobs that I was in, I got to be so close. Wow, I'm just thinking about that now, actually. That's really cool. All these jobs that I did have, I got to be so close to the business owners and founders, even of these huge companies that I was working for. I got to hear their story. And that was always my favorite part about it, is hearing how they got started. And it's always like lit something up in me. I'm like, if they can do it, I can. Like, what's to stop me from doing something? You know, the only thing stopping me is at the time my passion for something. And now I have like an overwhelming amount of passions that fuels the fire, you know? Those jobs definitely had a role in leading me to where I am now. And if it all flops and fails, then it's going to be a funny story. So either way, it's a win. On to coffee related stuff. This is about Bizzy Bean, my coffee company that I'm launching. How did you come up with your brand name, Bizzy Bean? Well. I tried. Here's the full story. I tried to ask AI when I first had the idea about Bizzy Bean and what I wanted it to be, canned latte, and I could like picture it. I was missing the name. And trying to ask AI, honestly, I put in a bunch of things about me, about the brand, what I wanted it to be, and I was like, give me some names to choose from. And I was like, I'll probably just pick one of them. Except, surprise to no one, the names all freaking sucked. They were the worst names I've ever seen. And I was like, that's awful. Give me some more. Give me some more. Give me some more. And they sucked and they sucked and the names sucked and they sucked. And then I just, tried to do it the old-fashioned way and use my noggin. I was thinking about things that encapsulate me. And I was like, what is some things about me that I could tie into the brand? I thought about how busy I am, honestly. I was like, who would I want this product to be for? And also, who am I? At the time when I was creating the product, I was also especially busy. I was working my 9 to 5 and trying to be a content creator on the side and all these things. I was like, dang, I'm just so busy. And then I thought about Bizzy Bee. I love a good alliteration. So I thought it was cool to like a little play on words of spelling busy a different way. And then also instead of Bizzy Bee to do Bizzy Bean. It kind of just came to me randomly, and then I just kept saying it over again and again and again. And I wasn't even for sure about the name at first. I remember I wrote it down and looked at it and thought about it, and now I feel more comfortable saying it. I was in an entrepreneur business class, and they're like, you need a name. I was like, oh, I don't have one. I was like, okay, I'll put a filler one in for now. Yeah, I wasn't even for sure on the name, and I'm so glad I wasn't, because I think if I was really for sure on the name, and I thought I'm probably going to change it in the future, and never did. So yeah, it just stuck. Next question is, will there be a limited edition / seasonal flavors? Gosh, I hope so. They better have seasonal, we better have seasonal flavors. Right now I'm really trying to come out with this first one because, it's been rough. Like we've talked about, there's been a lot of ups and downs with it, specifically downs. I do have a lot of different ideas for seasonal flavors. Like I want to do peppermint mocha ones for Christmas. I want to do pumpkin spice lattes. Like, I have so many ideas. It's really just the resources and the money that I am working on. Next is lifestyle and wellness questions. Workout routine. I've been doing a lot of mat Pilates outside, and I love it a lot. For one, I'm really cheap. It's hard for me to spend money on a gym membership because then that feels like a job to me. Like, I don't know. I'm spending money on it to go to a gym. I don't know. I played around with a whole bunch of different things, though. When I was working at CSUB, I would go to the gym there a lot, which was nice, but grew up dancing and miss it a lot. I think the closest thing I found to dancing or dance classes is Pilates, like a pop Pilates. I'll go on YouTube. I love looking up Move with Nicole. And even if I only have 10 minutes, I'll put on like a 10-minute yoga or 10-minute Pilates, and it feels really good, especially when the weather's nice outside and it's sunny and the air quality won't kill me. Love it. I love doing it outside, and it feels really grounding. And it also makes me feel good about myself. Even if I used to feel guilty, or I used to feel bad when I'd be like, oh, I'm only doing a 10-minute class today. Now I feel great. I'm like, wow, I did a 10-minute class. That's amazing that I made time to do a 10-minute class, especially on when I have a really, really busy day. Today, I didn't. I can't even lie. I didn't work out today, but that's okay. I try to do it like 3 to 4 times a week. If I'm having a really good week, I'll do like a 30 to 40 minute one every single day, but most of the time that doesn't happen because life happens. And also sometimes there's a week where I don't work out at all, but I do love going for walks. Even when I was working my 9 to 5 job and I barely had the energy to work out. I don't know how people with full-time jobs do it. Like, huge praise to you guys. When I wouldn't work out, I would just go for walks on my breaks, and I would notice I would just feel a lot better about my body, and it just felt good to just get up and move. I had to film this episode over the entire day because it's been so, busy. So if you are watching on YouTube right now, I am sorry for how dark it is getting outside. I'm doing my best here. It's hard having a crazy, never ever changing schedule because I plan to record one day, then something else comes up. And, yesterday, could I have recorded? Absolutely, but I felt ugly, so I didn't. And now we're here. Next question is, what do you do for self-care? I'm really bad at self-care, honestly, guys. I really suck at self-care. I've been trying to get better about it. That is like one of my goals for this new year, is just like literally to make time to relax. I like taking long showers and meditating in there. I'll put some sound bowls on, and I'll just pretend that I'm at the spa or I'm at my future mansion with like a steam room going on. And yeah, that feels really relaxing. And I like to meditate a lot too. Even if it's just like a 5-minute meditation after I work out in the morning. I keep telling myself I'm going to start implementing meditation and like throughout my day or in the middle of my day, but I'm quite bad at doing that. So that's another goal that I have, because I think mental self-care stuff is equally as important. And I'm trying to get massages more too, especially because I have jaw pain. My jaw locks all the time, and I've noticed if I do get massages, then it feels a lot better. So that's another self-care thing that I think is really important. It's just, and I don't know if you guys are like me, it's just so hard to schedule the self-care stuff. Like, that's another thing that's hard for me to spend money on, because I don't see it as a necessity, which is not good. Like, it is. And every time I do something self-care, I'm like, I feel great. Like, I did deserve that. And again, it's crazy what I'll spend my money on, because I'll spend my money on a good meal, but then I will say I'm not going to spend money on a massage or a facial or something that is just a fun experience. Like, if you've never gotten a facial before, I hadn't gotten a facial in like my 24 years of life until I think last year. Yeah, I think last year was my first time ever getting a facial, and I was like, this is so nice. Why do I not do this? Why have I never done this before? Like, just at least try it for the experience, set aside some money for self-care stuff. I think that's a really cool thing to do, is like every month choose something different to do for self-care. I have started getting my toes and nails done more. I have like a membership at a spa in my town that I get pedicures and manicures at. Even that though, if you look at my nails right now, if you're watching on YouTube, they look busted. They look not good. And even that is something that I don't make time for sometimes. But getting membership has forced me to use it more, because then I'm in that use it or lose it mindset. Not healthy, but yeah. How do you plan family time? Honestly, I'm not very good at planning family time because I am so close with my family. Family time does happen naturally, but not as much as I'd like it to. It's hard. All of us are always so on the go a lot, and I think that is a toxic cycle that me and my entire family is where we work so hard because we do have so many different passions. So yeah, I'm really not good at planning family time. Even dates with my boyfriend has been something that has been hard to plan, especially because a lot of my content, well, I guess not as much anymore, but when my content first started, it was me forcing him to go places with me to do videos on cute date spots and stuff. So it's hard now to go to a restaurant and just relax, or I think planning family time is really important, and that is something I would like to do even just a few times a month, because life is so short and our time with our families is so limited. So I not to get all depressing, but I think it is really important to plan out these family times. I do get to hang out with my younger siblings a lot though, which is really, really nice. I don't know, honestly, I do need some tips on that. How do you guys spend time with your family? How do you guys plan it? Do you do weekly dinners, monthly dinners? So I keep trying to think of a good answer for it, but I don't think I have one. Do you eat clean or have skinny jeans? That's funny. I think I do eat actually pretty clean. My mom grew us up on lots of quote healthy meals, a lot of greens and vegetables, and we would always try weird diets, not for weight. We would just try, me and my sister had really bad acne growing up, so we would try going gluten-free. We would try doing the keto diet. We would try cutting out cheese for a few months. We always would try different things to see what would help our skin, and a lot of things didn't, literally nothing to it. We would go on these crazy things. We would do juice cleanses. We tried so many different things. So it did get me into a really good habit early on of eating the right foods and vegetables, but your girl does love to eat, and because of that I do prioritize working out a lot more, because especially as I've gotten older, and yeah, I noticed that metabolism, it do be slowing down sometimes the older you get, especially when I was working my 9-to-5 job. I remember I would feel just not good when I wouldn't work out for a bit and I wouldn't be taking my breaks to walk around the block even for 10 minutes. I feel like it would have a negative effect on my body, just how I felt too. Not even as much how I looked. I feel like I felt I looked worse than I did because I wasn't working out. I think mental body dysmorphia stuff had a bunch to do with it, because I was being extra hard on myself because I wasn't working out, or maybe I skipped going for walks that week. So now I try to put more of a focus on how I feel instead of a set goal of how I looked. Especially it's hard because I grew up dancing all my life, and then I was dancing in college. I was on the dance team and I was just constantly doing cardio, whether it's at practices or at games we were performing at. And then one day that just stopped. I graduated college, I wasn't on the dance team anymore, and I didn't have that expressive outlet, which sucked. But on top of that, I didn't have that fun cardio. I didn't have to make a time to go work out. I didn't have to. That's a lot of self-discipline, which I realized when I had my 9-to-5, to make time to work out, because it was always a part of my everyday life. Growing up, my mom put me in dance classes and was paying for those things, obviously. And then when I got to college, that was just a part of being an athlete, was being on the dance team, and it was always fun to me too. So I didn't really think about it as, oh, I have to go to work out right now, And dancing, I really, really, really love dancing, and I really miss it. And I Wish we had more studios in town that had adult classes. A lot of the ones I do see, and I could be wrong, I don't do a whole lot of time researching, is like adult ballet, and I'm like, oh, I want a fun class. I want to do some hip hop, and I also don't want it to be a super beginner class because, sue me, I'm picky. I don't want to do that. I want to be challenged. Again, I haven't done a lot of research, so if there are some out there, hit me up in my DMs and let me know about them. I think it'd be really fun to get back into. I'm even thinking, I've been thinking for a while now, again, like trying new things. Life is too short, and I want to take more classes in LA. I grew up doing that a lot during junior high and high school. My mom would drive to LA with me and my sister to take dance classes, and I really miss doing that. That was so fun. So I'm scared and I'm nervous, but that also kind of excites me. I think that'd be really cool to just go take a random dance class at a dance studio in Los Angeles. That'd be so fun to get back into. I just need to get rid of this expectation that I will do as good as I did years ago, because I haven't taken a dance class in so long. The cardio it takes, damn, you don't realize how much until it's been a while, you know? So yeah, anyway, all that to say, I have been trying more recently to not focus on getting a specific body image, but just like feeding myself with good, healthy foods that I do enjoy. I don't think eating healthy has to be boring. I used to think, oh, I'm going to grow up and I'm going to eat all these different junk foods, because I've just always loved food. That just shows you how much I've always loved food, even growing up. And now that I'm older, I'm just finding new recipes and ways to make them healthier, and have gotten a lot of inspiration from dinners my mom made growing up. And I think TikTok also has unlimited recipes and resources of different foods, and no matter if you're dairy-free, gluten-free, there's just so many good ones out there. Tonight I'm having salmon bowls, and I'm so freaking excited. I used to hate salmon, and now it's one of my favorite meals. Like, there's just so many new ways to cook things. So I try not to go back to old videos of myself when I was in college and look at it from a comparison mindset, because again, that steals my joy. If I look back on it and I think, oh, look how good my body looked. Okay, I'm older. We live, we learn, we thrive, we grow. Our bodies grow, like, we change, and sometimes I'm 10 pounds heavier than I am the next month. Like, it's always up and down. I don't own a scale. My mom has never had a scale in our house growing up, and I will never have a scale. Especially women's bodies, we are constantly changing and in different cycles in our life, and I know if I had a scale, I would be checking it nonstop. If you have that issue, highly recommend throwing your scale away, because it all comes down to how you feel, and a lot of that is like in our noggins, you know? So I think that's step one. As a small business and young entrepreneur, who do you go to just talk about ideas with? Such a good question, because a lot of the times I don't go to anyone for a while, and I think that's a really important point, is knowing when to talk about your ideas with someone. Like the coffee idea. When I had the idea for starting Bizzy Bean Coffee, I think there's nothing worse than when you tell someone your idea and they automatically shoot it down, or tell you all the ways that it could fail, and all these, well, what if it doesn't work out? What if this? I think that automatically shifts your energy. At least for me it does. I can feel it. When I tell someone something I'm excited about and they hit me with negativity, you know, it's like the thing I talked about in the beginning of this episode, my pet peeves, is just that closed-mindedness and that negativity. I can feel it in my soul, and automatically it makes me start doubting myself. So I try to sit and simmer with the idea in my head for a bit, and I start to think about the logistics. I try to think of the pros and cons to it, and if it's something actually worth pursuing. And I can't think of a better phrase than what I'm about to say again, of does it light me up? You know, when I thought about the coffee idea, I felt lit up. I got so excited and hooked on the idea, and it just wouldn't leave my brain alone. I just kept thinking of new and fun ideas for it. And it was weird, because when I did have the idea, I remember it felt almost like, if I don't do this, someone else will. I just felt like, I feel we're gonna go woo-woo again. I feel like God gave me this idea. God, the universe, whatever you believe in, I feel like I was given that idea, and I was like, shoot, if I don't use this, the higher power is gonna send it to someone else. So I was like, I need to put some steps in motion, otherwise I feel like it's gonna go to someone else. I don't know. That's just what I believe. Back to that though, who I talk to about it. I really sit on it before I talk about it with anyone, and then I start like putting feelers out. Like I remember when I first had the idea of Bizzy Bean, I was already pretty confident that I'm going to start it. And I remember bringing it up to my mom. And don't get me wrong, now she's really on board with the coffee idea. Like, she comes to me with my business meetings sometimes, like, we got a good thing. We got a good thing going. But when I first told her about it, I remember that, and I had let it simmer in my head for a bit before coming to her. But I remember that when I first told her about it, she was like, oh, it's scary going into the food and beverage industry, you know. Like, that's a big liability when you're giving someone a project to ingest. And I think if I didn't simmer with it already in my head, I think I would have been terrified by her telling me that. She saw like how serious and passionate I was about it, and then very quickly did hop on board with supporting me with it. But and I do get it also, like that it is a lot of money that I am putting into it, so I completely get where she was coming from. But again, if I didn't let that idea sit inside me and I didn't trust myself and the passion that I had behind the idea to have it succeed, which is a lot of talk right now for a product that's not even out yet, but like I genuinely believe in it so much, which is why I am comfortable saying this. I think if she told me that before I thought about the idea and all the logistics already in my head, I think I could have been persuaded a little bit to be like, yeah, maybe it is too scary to start. And I'm really glad I didn't. I'm glad that I had sat on it for a bit before this. And then I kept playing around with the idea too. I kept visualizing the packaging and coming up with new ideas. And I have always gone to like my mom and sister with advice on business related stuff, and they have always kept me level-headed. I know they won't just tell me what I want to hear, and I never know what I'm going to get from either of them, which is also so cool. Like when I told my mom about the idea, I thought she was automatically going to be on board and be like, yeah, let's do it. And every time my mom about it, and be like, oh dang, I thought she was going to be more on board for it. And then I remember telling my sister about it, and she was like, oh yeah, like here's some different like she was just really helpful in helping me find people, and was really on board with it and like helping give ideas. And it's really awesome to have both of their perspectives and that I have access to this. Sarah Blakey, I think Sarah Blakey, the founder of Spanx, she actually says in one of her podcast interviews that she had an informal board, which was like her family and friends. I think it was like 2 of her friends or something, and she would ask them advice on different business ideas. So that's kind of what I like to think that I have too. If I'm going into a business meeting or something, I'm so lucky that I have their opinions to bounce ideas off with, and they're super open and honest. So it's got to be someone whose opinion you trust, but also it really comes down to what you think, and you got to trust yourself first. Why did you start this podcast, and what do you envision it will do for listeners? I actually was on a podcast earlier today. It was my first podcast being the guest on, which was really fun. And they asked me a similar question, and it stumbled me. I was like, why did I start this podcast? And again, like I talked about in the episode before, I don't have a set answer, and I think that's okay. I don't know what this podcast is going to grow into, but I'm so excited for it because we get to do this together. And I really mean that. I know I keep saying that a lot, but it's because of the community that we have built on Instagram, on TikTok, with your guys' comments, with your guys' DMs, with you liking my videos even. It all has had such a butterfly effect to turn into this podcast. So I'm aware of that, and that's what I want this podcast to be. I really want to listen to you guys and what you want it to turn into. What do I envision it will do for listeners? I wanted to encourage you guys to start whatever venture you want to do, and reinforce the idea that it is not cringe to try. It's not cringe. It's only cringy if you let it be cringy. If your friends judge you, drop those freaking friends. Those aren't your friends. Those are not your friends. I will say that so many times. There's still people that judge my content, especially men, like I talked about before. And that says so much more about the people judging you than it does about you. Because you don't want to look back at your life and think, I should have done that. That is what keeps me trying these different side hustles and hobbies and anything, is that fear is huge for me, that I will look back and regret not trying something. That's so terrifying. I don't know if that's a healthy reason to try things either, but I know that it feels good, at least right now in this moment, so I'm going to keep on doing it. What are 3 places in Bakersfield, California you think everyone needs to try at least once in their life? At least once. Ooh, I got a really good one. Again, none of these are paid. They're just genuinely my favorite places. One is El Taco Loco. I have to start with that one because that has been my number one burrito place for so long. A carne asada burrito from there, everything on it. They load that sucker up. I get it cut in half. Their red salsa, I love their red salsa. I'm addicted to it. It's so good. It's so spicy. Honestly, confession hour, sometimes after I finish the burrito, if there's some salsa left, I'll take little sips of it. It's that good. It's so good. But then my mouth's on fire, and then I beg my boyfriend for ice cream. I'm like, I need ice cream. But that's how I know the salsa hits. 2 more places. I'm trying to think of like my favorite places. I love El Puesto. Sometimes it's a little too loud in there for me, so sometimes I'll call ahead and be like, hey, do you guys have mariachi tonight? Because it's fun for a little bit, but I get so overstimulated when I'm eating sometimes. If there's loud noises going on, I don't know. I don't want to be diagnosed with like whatever reason I have that issue, but I hate when there's loud music when I'm eating, even if I'm eating alone. Like, it's not even that I can't enjoy the conversation with the other person. That is part of it, because I do like going out to eat places when I can have a good conversation with someone. So that's definitely a part of it. But even if I'm alone, I hate loud music when I'm eating. It's just like, I feel, I don't like it. I'm going back and forth on if I even want to do a food place. I'm going between 2. I want to say locale for the food, for the vibes, for the ambiance. So cute in there. Love the owner. She's amazing. And one of my close friends. But I also want to say, so I'm going to say 4. Sorry about it. The Well Comedy Club. They have opened up their downtown location recently. And I haven't been to the new location. But I really like the owner behind it. And his story. I think he's really cool. I'd actually love to have him on the podcast. So stay tuned. I obviously, based on my lighting right now, if you're watching on YouTube, I need to figure out some of my own logistics. I think it's so cool that we have a comedy club here now. Okay, guys, those are all of the questions. This episode took so much longer to film than I thought. Otherwise, I would have started it at 6 a.m. No, I wouldn't have. I'm not a morning person. But I really loved all the questions, and I appreciate everyone that did send them in, so I wanted to take my time in answering them. I tried to go kind of quick. Obviously, I didn't. But if there's any that you guys want me to expand more on, then I would love to do a bonus episode so we can like really give a deep dive into anything you might have questions on. But I'm sure you guys, if you don't, we'll figure out some more things to expand on in later episodes. So yeah, I am loving doing this podcast. Since I am in my Bizzy Girl era, has been hard for me to find a good time to consistently record these, but I will put it higher on my priority list. This was eye-opening. Again, if you're watching on YouTube, it is so dark. And because I decided to film in a car and not the studio, it also comes with this lovely lighting as a result. But like I said, I want to keep it open and natural and honest and vulnerable and all of those things. So that means showing this. Showing me in my dark car right now. I kind of like the vibe of this because it reminds me of like late night COVID car rides that I used to do with my friends during COVID, where we would just drive around because there was nothing else to do. So I'm actually not super mad about the vibe. I'm mad that you guys have to go through this awkward lighting. I'm again so thankful for all your questions and again the positive response on the first podcast episode. I saw that it has over 100 views on YouTube, and I don't know if I know that people are gonna be like, only 100? That's huge for me, guys. Like, I put this first episode out not knowing anything, and I think that's even a little celebratory moment because I didn't know who was gonna listen. So it's been really cool to hear all your guys' positive responses. Has been amazing. I'm really in awe about it. So thank you for listening. If you're listening on YouTube, watching, feel free to subscribe for more episodes every other Tuesday. I can't wait for the next episode. I'm so excited, and let me know what you guys want to see in the next episode, or maybe even who you want to see. We are in our Bizzy Girl era, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!